Accepting oneself for who you are is a difficult process. There is no guidebook, no map, no light switch that can magically teach someone to love him or herself, and there is definitely no timeline. Some people believe that validation from others will allow them to feel better about themselves. But one cannot be loved by another until they love who they are. Some people have a much harder time appreciating their flaws and believing that they are worthy of love, even self-love. I was and sometimes still am one of these people. Today, I'm going to share with you my story. Like everyone here in this chapel, I am privileged. I live in a wonderful house in a nice neighborhood just a kilometer east of here. I am able to eat healthy, fresh foods. I've been given a great education and countless opportunities to discover my passions while self-determining my future. I have fantastic friends, a loving and supportive family, and the cutest dog in the world. This was not always the case. My life has not been easy. I haven't always been a Currie. Growing up, some of you may remember, I was a Willette. That's how you say it. My father and I were never close. Perhaps it's because I quit most sports in favor of music and acting, and he just didn't understand me. No matter how hard I tried, I could not connect with the man who was supposed to make up half of me. This never felt more real than when I was 11, and my parents sat me and my siblings down to tell us they were getting divorced. In all honesty, the news of the divorce did not feel surprising. Really, it felt inevitable. What was surprising was the way my father chose to handle himself as a result. I sought out his approval as he was supposed to be an important figure in my life, but he proved to me time again that he did not have a second daughter anymore. When he added all 3 of my siblings on Facebook and not me, it hurt. There were other more painful hurts along the way. I spent years alone in my room crying, but when I was out, I pretended his abandonment did not bother me. I did not want to accept that I was unwanted, and I felt so unworthy of love. Eventually, he cut off ties with the rest of my family, and there has been little to no contact with him in the past 6 years. We legally adopted my mother's last name, which cut the final tie to the man who was once my father. It was the beginning of the healing process that allowed me to accept that I do not need his validation to know that I am worth loving. To make things even harder, I had to move to the other side of town and transfer from my public school, which I had become very comfortable with, to my older siblings' terrifying private school. You could say this transition was not easy. I was scared and shy and did not fit in. Girls were intimidating and boys are weird. I felt like I had no place in this daunting school, like I'd never find where I belong. Those feelings of discomfort only got stronger with time. Insecurities were bad enough, but what made it worse was that I was bullied badly. A lot of people like to believe that bullying is not an issue at this school, but in my experience, it is one of the biggest issues that we face. I'm just going to put it out there. In middle school, I was a naive, chubby little doormat. I let those people with the most power take mine away. And I would compare myself to all of them, causing feelings of insignificance to arise in my mind. There were many times throughout my Appleby career in which I'd been bullied. Going home in tears and complaining to my mom seemed like the only way to make any of it better. Sometimes the smallest and most insignificant thing to one person can mean the end of the world to another. For me, that was when one of my peers said pointedly to me, "Go kill yourself." I don't know if it was the meaning or the intent behind the phrase, or the fact that it was said to me by someone I considered a friend, but I couldn't breathe. This time I wasn't just sad going home. This time I was broken. The incident opened the bully floodgates. I couldn't handle seeing the person who'd said it, the people who were writing it, and worse, to me online, those who called me an elephant and a whale behind my back and lied about it when confronted. I was especially hurt seeing the people who I would think would defend me joining in, and in fact, making it worse by insisting that people choose sides. It was very lonely. I began to believe them. I believed that I was the problem. I applied to a few boarding schools in the United States and was accepted. On August 25th, 2014, the day before we were supposed to make the 8-hour trip to Massachusetts for orientation, I took my mother aside and asked her, "Are you upset that I'm leaving?" To which, of course, I already knew the answer. This is when I decided to change my path. I told her, "I'm not leaving. I will not run away from a fight that I can win." And here I am, the head of the Student Ambassador Club, making this chapel speech to you 2.5 years later. Ironic, isn't it? In fact, I've turned a lot of things around, and I've done all in my limited power to make every situation I'm in as inclusive, kind, and open as possible. By throwing myself into as many activities as I can, I've been able to help so many people, whether it be my young grade 7s from my home form last year, or the new boarders who need help finding their way. I've been able to help not only my peers, but myself by becoming a peer counselor and learning how to listen to others and how to be heard. I've done my best to break barriers between cultures and cliques and do what I can to make this school a little bit better for the next person, so they don't have to suffer the way that I did. Pretty much, I had to fake it until I made it, and by doing that, I've learned to be happy. No one else has the right to your power. Only you can decide how to act, what to say, who to be. You control your own life, and you control your own happiness. Sure, not everyone is going to like what you do, but that's okay, trust me. There's a big difference between the girl you see before you versus the girl many of you knew 6 years ago and every year in between. That difference is my ability to choose what matters. What fights are worth me showing up for? What is worth me getting upset over? My mom always says, what other people think of you is none of your business. And that's a truth I try to live my life by. Some days it gets hard. It's hard to decide to be confident, to be bold, fearless, to not care what other people think of you. I could go on for days of stories of middle, upper, and some of senior school, but at this point in my life, I can look back on those experiences and be grateful for them. I'm thankful for those who challenged me to stand up for myself. I'm grateful to those who made me feel so small and insignificant. Without all of those people, I would not have become who I am today. My Aunt Beth always told me, don't peak in high school. And as you've probably realized, I most certainly have not. Now, let's be clear. I'm not here only because of the negatives in my life, and they really did not deserve that much airtime. But they do appeal to my fighting spirit. I've had a lot of support and love. My siblings, who are filled with experiences I can learn from. My friends here at school and outside of it, who I'm lucky to feel safe with. Teachers who have provided tremendous influence on me and how I carry myself. I am surrounded by positivity and kindness. For all of them, I am blessed and grateful. Senior 2s, we're almost out. There are only a few months left for all of us to be together, so just be yourself. We are all our own people, and we are all growing each and every day. So be who you want to be, and let's live the last bit of high school to the fullest. Senior 1s, please take what I say to heart. I know insecurities are inevitable, but if you want to change your path, you still have a chance. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for your peers. In a time where there is so much division, we as a community need to stand united. I stand before you all today and can honestly tell you that I love who I am. Of course, there are days when I get angry at myself for not going to the gym, eating too many snacks during my spares, or looking at someone else and wishing I had their features. Some days I still beat myself up over the ways I could have possibly prevented the harsh treatment given to me by my father. But there are fewer and fewer of those days. Like I said, accepting yourself for who you are is a long and challenging process. But when we stop comparing ourselves to each other, it might make the journey just a little bit easier. I'd like to ask you all to stand and sing hymn number 418.